You tear free of the eggshell in a ragged pile of sticks 40 feet above the ground. The floor breathes with every gust, creaking like bad scaffolding, and the air smells of wet bark and unwashed siblings. Even before you finish stretching, a brother jabs you in the ribs and a sister kicks your wing stub, everyone demanding food that isn't here yet. One wrong fidget, and you'll tumble straight past the foliage to a finish line called gravity. In your first seconds of life, the message is clear. Stay loud, stay hungry, stay balanced, or disappear. It doesn't help that someone out there wants your spot. Magpies loiter on neighboring branches, waiting for an unsupervised moment to pluck a helpless hatchling like a free takeout order. The nest isn't just cramped, it's contested real estate. Imagine sharing a studio apartment with rival siblings while burglars keep rattling the fire escape. That's day one of crow existence. The next 4 weeks are a survival reality show with no eliminations, only exits. Dad flits in and out, stuffing beaks with worms, beetle segments, and the occasional chunk of mystery meat salvaged from a parking lot pizza box. Mom broods over you like a living blanket, but she can't cushion the elbows and peck jabs of your roommates. Helpers, unrelated teenage crows working strictly for exposure, sometimes lend a wing, yet the math rarely adds up. 6 mouths, 4 workers, 1 endless buffet of need. Statistics you're lucky not to know: in cities, half of all crow nestlings never reach their first flight. Tree trimmers remove the ladder-like lower branches you'd normally crash onto, so one slip means open sky, closed story. You cling for dear life, shrink-wrapping your claws around twigs as storms thrash the canopy. When lightning pops in the distance, a sibling instinctively shoves closer to stay warm or to push you closer to the edge. Hard to tell when love is measured in millimeters of elbow room. Sometimes, though, teamwork appears in the strangest form. Your sibling line suddenly quiets when mom arrives. Each chick gives an almost polite chirp, letting the hungriest voice carry. It's a brief glimpse of strategy, the earliest lesson in group dynamics. Today I root for you, tomorrow you root for me. The rule is unspoken, but you file it away for later, because life as a crow is one long exchange program of favors and IOUs. But even if you cling to that brittle balcony, the real test comes when the ground stops zooming and starts rushing. Your flight syllabus is a 2-item checklist. The first item is jump. The second, improvise. Day 1 ends with a belly flop onto a branch that wasn't there a blink ago. Day 2 skips branches altogether. You splatter into leaf litter, dignity first. Overhead, a red-tailed hawk circles like an admissions officer who feeds on dropouts. Fledgling crows have a worse survival rate than student drivers. Nearly 6 in 10 won't master landing before a predator masters them. Mom demonstrates a perfect swoop, banking around trunks with the grace of a paper airplane in a breeze. You, meanwhile, flap like a kite with 2 broken struts. Each time you dive for a beetle, you're certain this is the one, until your beak kisses dirt and the beetle strolls away unfazed. A squirrel watches from a safe limb, chattering what can only be laughter. A breakthrough finally comes when you copy a stranger. An adult crow drops a walnut onto a crosswalk, waits for the light to turn green, and lets a sedan do the cracking. You mimic the maneuver, only to misjudge the timing and nearly become pavement art yourself. Still, you retrieve a shard of kernel and, more importantly, a brand new maneuver for the mental toolbox. Progress measured in calories and close calls. Yet pain forgives nothing. Next, you must learn why smart doesn't always mean safe. Crows crack nuts with traffic, stash tools for tomorrow, and recognize human faces for decades. Yet none of that genius stops a virus-laden mosquito, a speeding car, or an air rifle. Urban legends call you disease spreader. Reality is crueler. The very illness blamed on you kills 90+% of the birds it infects. Farmers label you crop thieves, ignoring studies showing you eat more pest insects than kernels. Lawmakers exploit the rumors because nothing rallies votes like a scapegoat in feathers. Your skull houses a brain-to-body ratio rivaling great apes, but IQ doesn't repeal bad policy. It merely lets you remember the faces behind it, and crows never forget a face. In one campus experiment, mask-wearing scientists netted a few birds for tagging. Years later, those same masks still trigger a siren of angry caws whenever they appear. Students now borrow the masks as pranks, turning a basic ornithology lesson into campus-wide legend. mess with crows, earn a chanting black choir at lunchtime. The crow ledger fills with grudges, but also gratitude. In Seattle, a little girl spent months tossing dog kibbles onto her porch rail every morning. By spring, the local murder delivered shiny beads, buttons, and even a lost lens cap, stacked like rent payments. Revenge might be a dish best served loud, but appreciation is served glittering. Brains help, sure, but the buffet waiting downtown is both a miracle and a minefield. Fast food wrappers, curbside fries, half a cheeseburger cooling on a bench, city life looks like endless brunch. Lead fragments lurk inside roadkill, oily puddles mimic water, shards of glass masquerade as glistening seeds. In winter, you raid dumpsters behind sushi joints for day-old rice. In summer, you unzip trash bags with surgical precision, flipping the top like a clamshell phone. Everything smells edible until it isn't. One friend of yours, if crows can call any relationship friendship, once gulped down a polystyrene packing peanut that looked like popcorn. He spent 2 miserable days coughing before he hacked it up like a failed magic trick. Lesson learned: easy calories often come with fine print. Municipalities respond with smart bins that lock when beaks approach, framing litter as your fault. Residents argue in comment sections, clever birds or flying rats. Both sides sling breadcrumbs, both sides shake fists. You adapt, stake out drive-through lanes, tail delivery cyclists, even team up with raccoons for late-night bin raids. One critter knocks the lid, the other fishes out the fries. The feast never stops. But neither does the roulette wheel of toxins, traffic, and irate cafe owners waving brooms like medieval halberds. And while cities debate trash etiquette, other nations draft something harsher than a locked lid. Across the globe, crows step into the role of villain on stages you'll never see. In Kenya, officials proposed poisoning 1 million invasive house crows to calm tourist complaints. Collateral corvids be damned. German farmers host annual corn defense, shoots that delete hundreds of thousands of corvids despite data showing negligible crop damage. In parts of Japan, hikers still hang tinsel strips in trees, makeshift scarecrows, after a single viral video showed crows stealing hikers' snacks. Never mind the raccoon dog captured 3 frames later. The irony? Cult campaigns often backfire. Remove adults and suddenly the helper juveniles inherit vacant territories, breed sooner, and replenish numbers within a season. Science calls it compensatory reproduction. Crows call it business as usual. For you, it means living with a target painted by rumor and politics, washed only by relentless rain. Yet for all the crosshairs, adulthood demands more energy than outrage. Freedom tastes like wind, smells like garbage day, and sounds like tires whooshing inches below your talons. You construct a nest 60 feet up, convinced raccoons can't climb that high, until a striped bandit makes off with an egg like it's Easter. So you upgrade. Thorny twigs, cable tie reinforcements, even line the cup with human hair collected from a barbershop dumpster, the perfect insulation and surprisingly plush. Mobbing predators becomes your side hustle. When a fox slinks out of the shrub line, you summon 20 cousins and stage an aerial blitz, dive bombing until the fox bolts cross-eyed into the brush. The next day you repeat the maneuver on an eagle stealing fish from the lake. Victories flutter away as fast as the calories you burned winning them. Still, each rally deepens social bonds. Combat as community therapy. By dusk, you drop into a downtown roost where hundreds of crows converge like a black waterfall across the sky. The chorus of chatter is part status update, part gossip column. Who found a new French fry pipeline? Which cat lost an eye to a mob? Which juvenile flashed the wrong feather display and got pecked? You listen, you file, you plan tomorrow's hustle. But raising a family, and even hustling, feels like vacation. Courtship is half ballet, half improv comedy. Aerial loops, guttural croaks, even gift wrapping shiny bottle caps in blades of grass. Choose poorly and your bloodline ends in 1 season. Choose well and you earn a co-pilot for the hardest project on earth, feeding chicks 100 times a day. Heat waves turn lawns to concrete and worms to fossils. Chicks beg louder, weighing less. You and your mate stage lightning-quick raids on picnic sites, executing a pincer maneuver between stroller and trash can. Helpers deliver snacks with good intentions and clumsy claws. You chase them off raccoon style more than once. Survival requires protein, not sympathy. Climate shifts crank up the thermostat. Nestlings pant so hard they tip over edges you spent weeks guarding. So you invent a hack. Dunk strips of moss in a bird bath and lay them across the chicks like tiny green ice packs. It buys precious degrees of relief, but also invites ants, which you then must meticulously pick off. Parenting for a crow is simply advanced crisis management. Loss hardens, but nothing hardens quite like vengeance. One postcard afternoon, a hawk explodes from behind a chimney. No alarm call, no shadow warning, just impact. You plummet, wings useless, land in a crumple that stops breathing before it starts screaming. A pedestrian kneels, puzzled, maybe sad, unaware of the 5 sets of eyes etching every facial detail into memory. To the murder peering down, nuance is noise. The human was present, you are absent, therefore blame writes itself. For years they will shriek above that sidewalk, dive at that hairstyle, drop acorns on that windshield. Scientists label it facial recognition and social learning. Crows simply call it justice. And yes, crow funerals are real. When a comrade falls, the flock gathers, silent but alert, scanning for danger as though decoding the crime scene. It isn't mourning so much as an impromptu lecture. Remember this place, this threat, this scent. For humans, the tableau looks eerily ceremonial. For crows, it's continuing education. That, finally, is the ledger of a crow's life. Brilliant yet blamed, resourceful yet resented, communal yet condemned. You hack existence out of thin twigs and thinner luck, battle hawks, bullets, and PR smears, all before your first molt. If being born a crow sounds brutal, remember, somewhere out there flaps a creature with even steeper odds. Click over and meet the poor soul. It'll make a crow's life look like an endless picnic. The sky is crowded with stories. This one was only the beginning.